What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are checking out the Sonicake Matribox 2. Let's do it. Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I take all sorts of awesome high gain related guitar equipment, record it with a simple setup, and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into East End or thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes that think it's okay to wear fuzzy slippers with wool socks, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on your way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! Alright guys, so as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, today we are checking out the Matribox 2 by our friends over at Sonicake. And I am actually making this video because you guys requested it. Once this bad Larry hit the shelves, a lot of people hit me up and asked me if I was gonna check it out here on the channel, and it just so happens that Sonicake hit me up. They asked me the same question. So they went ahead and sent one out for me to share with you guys here on the channel. Now, with that said, yes, this is a sponsored video. I am being paid to share this with you guys here on the channel. So in the nature of full transparency, I wanted you guys to know that. So feel free to take everything that I have to say with a grain of salt. You are more than fair to do so, but just remember, I'm gonna give you my honest thoughts and opinions, whether you want them or not. So keep that in mind. So what is the Matribox 2 that you guys have requested that I demo? I figure I might as well explain it a little bit. If you guys remember a few months back, probably longer than that, we checked out the original Matribox pedal here on the channel, and that was essentially an extremely affordable little multi-effect unit and amp modeling pedal. I actually thought that there were some really great sounds in that thing, and I had a lot of fun checking it out. Where I think it fell short was the overall build quality. It was made completely of plastic, and it was a little cumbersome to navigate because there were just not very many controls to get around the unit, and it kind of made it a little bit difficult to kind of get where you were going and adjust the parameters that you were trying to adjust. So with all that being said, what is different about the Matribox 2? Well, pretty much all the things that I just mentioned to you guys have been either rectified or altered in some way to make a better product. Number one, this baby is an all metal housing unit. Great build quality going on, and I think that this is going to be much more stage worthy because of that. As far as navigating the interface of the pedal itself, you have a bunch of extra controls down here which now make it much easier to get around and to get into what you're doing without having to scroll through menus and stuff in order to select the effect or the amp or the cab that you're trying to get to. With the Matribox 2, we've got a USB-C connection. You can actually plug it into your computer, and there is software that essentially acts like the interface of this pedal. It looks very similar, but it's obviously going to be a little bit easier to navigate because it's a desktop program, and it's also going to be easier to create and label your own presets and everything else. So I will not personally be diving into that in this video. There are a couple of other YouTubers who already did a great job showing that off, and I will absolutely link to their videos down below in my description. I'm not really going to be going through the features, so if you're here for a giant in-depth overview of this thing, it's not really what I do. I just kind of jump into the tones and tell you guys whether this thing can do the chugs and the thrashies or whether it can't. And spoiler alert, after spending 10 minutes with it, it definitely can. Another feature that I want to touch on that has been added real quick is this thing has 4-cable functionality. So it has a built-in effects loop, and you can run this 4-cable with something like a 6505. So if you just want the effects out of this unit and you want to use them in the effects loop of your 6505, and you want to what? You want to bypass all of the preamp modeling and just use it for the effects you can absolutely do that. We've also got an extension for an additional expression pedal. But yeah, what I really want to dive into is the tones. How good are the tones that are built into this thing? How good are the impulse responses built in? How much easier is it to navigate with the new buttons and the new user interface? For that intro clip, I was actually just using the Modern Lead preset that is built into here, and I just turned off all the effects, all the delay and modulation and stuff. The presets on here, guys, like most of these modelers, in my opinion, are kind of worthless. Like, they're all drenched in effects and they're fun to mess around with, but I don't really think that you're gonna get a whole lot of use out of most of the presets on units like these, so that's no fault to the Sonicake itself. Cake. I think that's just a modeler thing in general when it comes to presets. So keep that in mind. You're probably gonna wanna dive in and kind of sculpt your own tone with your own effects and everything, much like we're about to do here. Continuing on the tones of the intro clip, I was just plugging this straight into the front end of my interface and going straight into my DAW, my digital audio workspace. And I have absolutely no post-processing going on in this video. There will be no post-processing on any of the audio that you hear at all. It's either going to be straight out of the Sonicake Matribox 2. I don't know why I keep saying the whole name. That's dumb. But we are also going to go into the 6505 power amp return just to see how it sounds using some of the preamp sounds in here into the power amp of a tube amp. And we're also going to do the same thing with the Blackstar Amped 1 so you guys can see how this would sound in an all pedal format if you wanted to throw these two on a pedal board together and take it for a fly rig. And for those clips, we'll be going through my Mesa 412 with the vintage 30s that it came stock in it, and we have an SM... Oh God, I'm falling apart. Can you tell it's been a while since I filmed? Mesa traditional cab, vintage 30, SM7 on V30, no post-processing on that either. So with that being said, we got some ground to cover. Let's go ahead and let's jump into the Sonicake Matribox 2. Say the whole damn thing again. All right, so looking at the preset that we have going on here, like I said, this was actually the second preset on the modeler. I actually thought that this sounded pretty good, but it was like drenched in effects. So I went ahead and turned all those effects off, and how you do that is you literally just double press, and as you can see, the light came on the unit and it lit up here on the screen, and that shows you that it is effectively in the signal. But if you want it out, boom, press it and it's gone. Get the hell out of here, you stupid effect. And as far as effects blocks and everything on this unit, we have an effects 1, effects 2 that's going to give you some choices when it comes to compression, overdrive, distortion, boost, stuff like that. We've obviously got our amp block. These up and down arrows are like your line in, line out volume as far as I remember. Send level and return level, so that's gonna be your levels for your 4 cable method, or if you have anything in the effects loop. So it's nice that they actually give you the ability to adjust those if you're some sort of stupid weirdo that uses effects. Right here, NR, that's gonna be noise reduction. That is basically our noise gate block. And then we have our cab, which we're gonna mess around mostly with the amps and cabs. We've got an EQ block, which is also nice. Got modulation, delay, reverb, and here's our expression pedal that is built in. And again, to get to any of these things, all you gotta do is press those buttons. So if you want the cab out, if you want to go direct to the front of house, because this does have a stereo output, 1/4 inch output, so you can go one output direct to front of house with your impulse response on it and the other input into your power amp and into your cab on stage. You can do that, because if we go over here to the global settings, it's got all sorts of stuff, including our ins and outs. Here's our USB audio functionality, calibrating our foot switches and the second foot switch that can be plugged in. We've got MIDI settings, we've got display settings, we've got all sorts of stuff. There's an auto cab match feature, which I'm gonna turn off, but it basically automatically matches the cab of the amp to the amp. So if you're playing a Bogner Ecstasy, it's gonna match a Bogner cab to the Bogner Ecstasy, but I want complete and total control over everything. So we're gonna leave that off. And then finally, something that I think is gonna be really useful is a global EQ. Now, I have not spent much time with this unit. I spent probably 10 minutes just trying to learn where everything was that I needed for this video. I can honestly say it's very intuitive. I figured it out really, really quickly, and normally I struggle with these types of things, so big plus for me and my big doo-doo ADD brain. But if we click this button here, or this knob, it's a knob and a button, and we can go into the global EQ here. And as you see, I was messing around and I'm actually surprised that it saved it, because I didn't hit the save function, but I turned on a global boost of about, wow, 5 decibels, a lot. So I turned on a pretty big low end boost here on this parametric global EQ because I felt that a couple of the amp sims that I tried out were missing low end, and that kind of seems to be common, I've noticed, among a lot of these entry level and affordable modelers. For some reason, the modeling, they just don't seem to have a lot of low end inherently in them. I went ahead and added that in, but we can just go right over here and there's an option to turn this on or off globally. So roll the knob, turn it off, we're good to go. So just to show you that intro tone again, now with the global EQ turned off because I didn't realize that it was on. If we're getting good sounds right out of the box on the presets, that's a pretty solid sign. And we're gonna go into this preset and I'm gonna show you basically what we're working with, because that was actually a Bogner Ecstasy red channel, which is the high gain channel on a Bogner Ecstasy. Now, if we want to adjust the parameters of the amplifier, now down here you can see we've got a small menu that tells us whether the amp in is on or off. You can turn it off just by rolling it back, like I said, or you can press this button down here and that turns it off. And over here, position. This is actually the position of it on the, or in the signal chain. So if you want to move it all the way to the back because you're a total idiot who doesn't understand signal chains, unfortunately, you have that option. But for everything else, that's gonna come in handy when you want to move your effects around to the proper places in order to get the desired result. Let's move over here to the amplifier, click in this control, and here is our whole list of amplifiers that we can check out. Again, that was the Bogner Ecstasy. I always like to check out Soldano SLO modeling because I'm very familiar with that amp, and usually if they can get the SLO modeling right, most of the other stuff is good in my experience. So let's flump around on that for a second. All right, that sounds great right off the bat. We do have a boost in front on our FX2 block. Let's actually go there, FX2. We've got a BB boost. We're actually gonna pull the bass back on that a little bit. Let's pull the gain back a little bit. And back to our amp, let's pull the gain back just a little bit. I don't know why I'm yelling. I'm just really excited to be here. I don't even know what cab we're on, and this sounds great. Like, I think that this sounds awesome right out of the box, man. I'm really digging at least the SLO preset. That Bogner Ecstasy was sounding good. Let's jump into those cabs. So that was a Brit MD 412. I'm not sure what an MD would be, honestly. Brit LD 412. Let's go to the TD 412. Gotta select it. One thing I will say is it doesn't really actually seem like there are any parameters for changing the microphone or changing the mic position or anything like that. There's a high cut, a low cut, and a volume, so not a lot to really adjust your sound in the impulse response section. I don't remember how it was on the Matribox 1, but that is going to limit your, adjustability when it comes to impulse responses. So if you find that you're not really gelling with the built-in impulse responses, just load some of your own personal impulse responses that you like on here and you should be good to go. But that first one sounded really, really good. So anyways, here's the Brit TD. Very scoopy, very big in the bass, Brit GN. All right, so I'm sure that's a greenback cab. It sounds very greenback-like. Let's move past the Brit cabs. Let's see what else we got. Cali Dual 412. All right, so I'd say that sounds pretty convincing. Normally Mesa 412s with V30s are very rolled off on the top end compared to others, and it kind of has that thing going on. I will say it sounds maybe a little bit muffled for my taste, but we might be able to adjust that. Halen 412, so this should be an EVH 412 with those signature greenbacks that he has in there. That's got a lot of high end. I'm not a fan of that with our current settings, I will be honest. Let's try the Bogner 412. That one's getting closer for me. Maybe a little bit scratchy on the high and lacking a little bit of low end, but again, we can go in and adjust our amp settings and our EQ. So Bogner 412 is sounding pretty good. Let's try the angle. All right, I like the angle a lot. It actually reminds me a lot of my Angle 4x12 cab on our amp in order to get it to sound right. Here's the Bogner Uber 412. That right there is easily the best cab that I've tried so far on this modeler. In fact, I liked it so much that I was like, I'm just gonna play. Let's just play. It honestly sounds super good. My favorite so far, so I'm gonna keep that one in mind. I really like that. Soldano 412, more than likely, this has the Eminence speakers emulated. Definitely Eminence Legends in there. I personally am not a fan, so it's not gonna work for me. Guys, I haven't played guitar other than to film a couple videos here or there, literally in 3 months. I've taken a long break from playing, really needed to step back from the channel, step back from playing guitar a little bit. This is the first time that I've actually filmed or played in a while, and I'm having a lot of fun. I really am, but my playing is a little rough, and I've forgotten the 5 riffs that I know, so that's why I'm just playing random stuff. So give me a little bit to get back in the groove, but hope you guys understand and hope you know that I'm like genuinely enjoying this. This is a lot of fun for me. So, all right, so we've selected our cab, and now we can go back into the amp. So let's go in here, let's see if we can find like a tube screamer type deal. So we've got bass distortions, breaker OD, master OD, full. So that's like a full tone. That's cool. I really want Screamer 9, Screamer and Screamer 9. So we've got both an 808 and a 9, it looks like. All right, so one thing that's standing out to me frequency-wise on this is there seems to be a little bit of low and low mid woofiness, a little bit of hollowness going on there. So let's go into that EQ. So we've got 2 different guitar EQs, 2 different bass EQs, and then we've got a California EQ, which is gonna be our Mesa 5 band. So if they have a Mesa Mark model on here, you're going to actually be able to put the 5-band EQ after the amplifier, and it's going to function as a Mark amp should. We'll stay here on guitar EQ1. Let's pull the 125 hertz and the 400 hertz back a bit, and let's actually turn this bad boy on. So now it is in the signal, but I'm gonna add a little bit, 2 decibels of 1.6 kilohertz and 1 decibel of 4 kilohertz. I'm more than happy with that. I'm more than happy with that tone. That sounds fantastic. You've got options in order to really sculpt and fine tune how this thing sounds. So, all right, we're already getting long-winded. Let's check out a couple different models. So far, we've done the SLO 100 and we have done the Bogner Ecstasy. You guys know that we have to check out a 5150 before we get out of here. We've got our Kali 2C Plus, awesome. We've got our Kali Mark IV. Dual vintage, dual modern, so those are our dual rectifiers. There is our 5150. Pumped on that. That sounds really good. Let's go up to our dual rectifier, because you guys know that I have really grown to love the old rectum fryer. Guys, for the first time in a long time, I am genuinely enjoying myself playing guitar. I'm having a lot of fun. These sounds are great with a little tweaking, man. This sounds really good. And then finally, I want to get in here. I want to check out this Brit 800, get a low gain tone going. I think the amp modeling on here so far is great. We found a few impulse responses, as I normally do, and most people will normally gravitate to a few impulse responses that sound great. So good stuff going on in here. Really easy to navigate, really easy to figure out the functionality. So for the amp, we are using that Bogner Ecstasy Red model again, because I just think that that thing sounds really, really good. For the effects, we are using a full tone overdrive because I liked how it interacted with the mids with that amp a little bit better. Let's go ahead and hear it. All right, so through the Blackstar Amped 1, I actually think it sounds pretty good here in the room. I do think it needs just a little bit more fine tweaking because there are some quacky frequencies that I would like to get rid of. So let's actually put this now into the effects return of the 6505, check it out on a tube power amp section and see if that tube power amp section kind of rectifies, some of those mid-frequency issues that we're having. That is going to do it for me today, guys. What did you think about the Sonicake Matribox 2 full title as always. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think that this is a worthy addition to somebody's collection at $229? Do you think the improved build quality and the improved feature set that is added with the 2 model are worth the $100 price difference? And do you think that this is overall just a modeler that anybody should spend money on? Really curious to hear what you guys think, especially after hearing my playthrough here. As always, drop those comments down below and I will be sure to meet you down there to grab it. And if you would like to pick up one of these units and you also want to help the channel out, I'll drop a Sonicake affiliate link below for you guys to do that. If you do end up purchasing it through that link, obviously I get a little bit of a kickback and it helps me do more cool stuff on the channel for you. Thanks so much for hanging out today, guys. I had a really great time filming this video and I can't wait to basically get back to work and do some more fun demos. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.
You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.